everybody. Good morning. This is Chris Flowers, president of Vets for Biz. I'm here with City Councilman Skip Hall from the City of Surprise. How you doing, sir?
Good, very good, Chris.
Good to meet you. Skip is retired Army veteran, so we're going to have a really good conversation for all you Marines out there. We'll try to talk a little slow, but at least we'll be able to have a conversation. Yeah. So I just wanted to introduce you, obviously, to maybe to the veteran community a little bit.
Yes.
Go over a little bit about your background, how you became a city councilman.
Okay.
Things that's going on with the city that are open for business kind of thing.
Sure.
And of course, he is running for re-election as well. So
yes.
Maybe talk about your campaign a little bit.
Okay.
How it's going and
okay.
Go from there. So yeah, if you why don't you introduce yourself to the veteran community and just give us a little bit about your background.
Well, hello vets out there. I'm a Vietnam vet, and when I came back from Vietnam, I struggled for a while. Frankly, I felt alone at times, and I didn't have a lot of direction. I thought I wanted to open a restaurant, so I went to work for a small restaurant chain in California, and they found out that I had my degree and I had some pretty good finance background in the Army, so they asked me to become part of their management system. So I went through their training and ended up opening Northern California, Oregon, and Washington for this chain and ran those restaurants. I was in restaurants for probably 10 years, and then I went into lodging, hotels and motels, and did that. So that's my background, is pretty much hospitality. Wow. And then I decided to, at the end of my career, so to speak, I had my real estate broker's license. So I worked with a builder in Southern California, and I acquired land for him, and then we entitled it and then sold the homes.
Nice.
So that was, and then I decided to kind of hang it up and move to Arizona, and I moved to Surprise 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. And retirement really didn't set too well with me because I'm kind of active.
Yeah. I talked to him for like 10 minutes. He's got a lot of energy. He's been all over the office already. I'm trying to keep up with him.
Anyway, so golfing every day wasn't really my deal. So after a while, I said I got to get involved in the city here. And I saw that the city was growing. There were a lot of things going on. So I got appointed to the Planning and Zoning Commission by the City Council. So I was on the Planning and Zoning Commission for 3 years, and then some people asked me to run for city council. So I've been on the city council 10 years.
Okay.
And so I've got a lot of scar tissue. So I'm running for re-election, and people say, "Boy, you really like this stuff, huh?" But I do like the public service part of it. Okay, the politics is not so much fun at times, but the public service part of it I really like, and that's kind of my background, has been service.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm at. It's an interesting campaign. The gentleman that's running against me is, I know him. He's a very smart guy. He's a little interesting in terms of the way he looks at things. I'm more concrete. He's more abstract. Okay. Let's put it that way. Okay.
And plus he's not Army. So.
Yeah, right. He's not an Army guy. So anyway, so that's what I'm doing right now, and I think what you're doing, Chris, is super, and I've been involved with some veterans, helping veterans here in the city. We have a resource center here in the city for veterans.
Okay. Transitioning
veterans that need jobs.
Please expound on that.
Yeah, and so we've helped many veterans at our resource center. The gentleman that's running it is called, his name is Seth Dyson, and he runs the department called Human Services Community Vitality.
Okay.
And under him is this resource center. And besides veterans, of course, they help people that need utility payments or, those kind of things too. Sure. But there's a veterans section.
Excellent.
And it's just great. And I go over and speak to him when I can, when Seth wants me to.
Okay. Maybe we could set something up where I can do it.
Yeah. I think that'd be great, Chris, because. And then I'm involved with the advisory group, the Veterans Advisory Group of Real Salado Colleges. Okay. I don't know if you know about that, but they we put together a resource center at Luke Air Force Base, right across the street from Luke Air Force Base, where the old visitor center used to be.
Yeah, I know that.
Okay, that's a Veterans Resource Center.
Right. Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, have you? Okay. Yeah. So you know what they do. And they help guys with legal problems. Let's
let the audience know.
They help veterans with legal problems. They help veterans with benefit issues. like older veterans like me that are curious about benefits because sometimes it can be kind of intimidating working through that process. They help with jobs. Anyway, but it's kind of a one-stop shop, and there's a person that's assigned to you that follows through with you. They don't do what Chris does as far as the if you're starting your own business, helping you with finance and that kind of thing. But they would probably, if they know Chris, they would probably refer this veteran to Chris. So that's what they do, and it's really good. And I just talked to a friend of mine who was a Vietnam vet who went down there, and he couldn't believe the service, how they treated him, how they followed up with him, and all that. So that's good, because we've got a lot of veterans out there that are kind of a little bit lost. Let's be honest, and that's why you're doing what you're doing.
Right.
And so me as a city councilman, I do everything I can for the vets. I was the one that initiated the Veterans Parade here in Surprise, and I thank you to the rest of the city council for supporting me on that. So we've done it 2 years. This will be our 3rd year coming up.
Excellent.
And yeah, it's just great. We're in the process right now of this is kind of new news. We're in the process.
You've heard it here first on Vets for Biz, all right?
So it's not a done deal, but another councilman and I, who's a veteran, are working with Rick Gray, who is the state senator for this. You know Rick?
I do.
Okay. What we're doing, and we're in the application process, is naming the bridge that goes over Grand Avenue on Bell Road, naming that Veterans Bridge.
Nice.
And putting it in the National Archives. So if you're a vet and you're traveling around the country and you want to see it, it'll be on there. Veterans Bridge, Surprise, Arizona. That's what we're working toward.
Okay.
Now it's a process, as you know.
All right.
It's gonna, but and we just had the Vietnam Wall here.
Yep.
July 5th through the 9th.
Yep.
And I was part of bringing that here with Councilman Winters. So I'm really involved with vets. I love vets. I do.
You are one.
I am one. So I feel akin. Yeah. And I love what you're doing, Chris. And the big thing is not feeling alone. You know what?
Right.
And when I got back, I felt kind of alone.
Obviously, it was a lot worse.
This was 1970.
Yeah, it was a lot worse. My father's a Vietnam veteran, so he told me what was going on.
Yes, yeah. and it wasn't all parades and
if anything, they were lining up to spit.
I got spit on,
baby killer and shit, and
all that stuff.
Yeah,
and so it was a different time, but still, even the guys coming back now, I'm sure feel alone sometimes. They're not part of a unit,
right?
And you know how it is, the camaraderie when you're part of a unit.
And that's what this is about. That's what Vets for Biz is about. That's why I'm doing these Vet-erviews, like I said, because then that's what the rally points are for. Like I said, we want to build the unit. We want to build the camaraderie back, like I said, because when we're together, where, like I said, you get put 5 fingers, can make a fist and do a lot of damage, but if you open up that hand, you can also reach out and help somebody else.
That's right.
That's what Vets for Biz is about.
Yes.
So
that's very good.
Tell us a little more, if you don't mind, about how business friendly the city of Surprise is.
Oh yes. We're working really hard with especially small business right now. In fact, we just had a meeting last week with the city manager. We did his evaluation for last year, and we're working on. We do real well with big businesses.
Right.
Okay, car dealer comes in.
Sure.
Okay, we're all over them, blah, blah, blah. But the small guy sometimes gets left in the lurch.
Right.
And we need, and I've seen it, and I followed up with people like the guy at Saigon Kitchen, or the restaurant Native Wings, or Freddy's, the franchisee of Freddy's. I followed up with them and said, listen, how did we do? How did we treat you? And there were some issues. So we're taking those issues and saying, okay, how can we accommodate when a guy comes in with a small business into the city, and he's got not only working with the city, in some ways he's got to work with the county, okay, and in some ways, if he's got a liquor license, he's got to work with the state.
Right.
So let's not just put a wall around the city. How about we help them coordinate with the other government agencies?
Excellent.
Huh?
Outstanding.
Yeah, and so that's what we're working on with the city manager right now, and he's all over it.
Okay.
And he understands, because small business becomes bigger business a lot of times,
Exactly.
doesn't it?
It's what it's supposed to. Yeah, that is the
So
goal.
you know, and it's okay to stay small, but the small business, we all know, is the backbone of this country.
Absolutely.
It really is. That's where the growth is.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so we need to take care, and especially if it's a vet business. Wow.
Yeah.
We need to put a circle around that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now,
So
I'm privy to, as I know a lot with, I work a lot with the city of Surprise myself, so I know about the AZ Tech Accelerator.
oh yes, that's another piece of
Yeah,
it.
I know Julie Neal.
Yes,
so I know
she's great.
So, but maybe the audience maybe talk a little
Yeah,
about the Tech
the
Accelerator.
Tech Accelerator is an incubator for small businesses, and we give them advantageous rates for their rent. And they have to qualify. They just can't be, they have to have an idea that they're developing. Okay, because it is a city-owned property.
Correct.
It's not privately owned.
The old City Hall, actually.
It's the old City Hall, yeah, and we converted it, and that wasn't an easy task, by the way. There were some doubters about that. You're going to do what with the old City Hall? I mean, really. And so we had to prove ourselves, but we have, and the citizens of Surprise have really been proud of what's come out of there. So anyway, but as you know, it takes people to make it happen. And we've got a great economic development director in Janine Jerkovic, and Julie Neal is on the site, and she's fabulous.
She is.
So it makes it all kind of happen. She's high energy like you and me.
Wow.
Anyway, yeah,
That's
she-
an understatement. She'll run circles around the building.
I know.
Off the wall.
Yeah, I know. So she's really good, and so that's we're really proud of that. What's gone on there? And one of the businesses got acquired by Google out of there. Another business is they started with 3 employees. They got about 150 now, and they had to move out of the Tech Accelerator, and they got an office building on Mountain View.
Excellent.
It's a medical application, 24/7, and MD24 is the name of the company.
Great.
And so anyway, and by the way, he's Vietnamese. He's a doctor
Okay.
that came here, the U.S., and after the Vietnam, and was a little boy. Became a doctor,
Wow.
got this idea, and it's really taken off. So,
Dang.
yeah, it's just great. You think America great?
I love
You know
it.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I
we're
mean,
blessed,
people can
man.
come here
We're
from
blessed.
with nothing
Yep.
and make a life. It's just amazing. Anyway, so
If we can get the government out of the way.
yeah, get the government out of the way, and thank our vets for keeping us free, right?
Right. You appreciate that, especially being in Vietnam.
Yeah, So anyway, it's so yeah, that's a great place, Chris. So, and you've done some work there, haven't you, with some businesses?
Yeah, I've done some speaking engagements. For I have a blending background. Some of you may know about it. I've done speaking engagements with those guys. Been doing it for years. But again, we're this way. So I want you, if you can. I know we talked a little bit about different resources for veterans and things like that.
Right.
Maybe if you can again expound on it a little bit, because like I said, what this is, what the Vet-erviews are for is we're just trying to inspire the veteran community. Okay, because like I said, because some people are still kind of looking for that direction.
Yes.
They're still trying to find what it is. Like I said, so let's say for instance, me being former military police and me being a forward observer. Who would have thought I would have gotten into business finance? It's not a natural transition, and no, it was not easy, but it happened.
Right.
But so, and then being a city councilman, like I say, coming from a restaurant background, hospitality background.
Right.
So I mean, there's different avenues and there's different ways
Sure,
to go.
yes.
And I was just wondering, maybe you can give me some inspiration or maybe some resources that that we have that are available, especially here in Surprise, to where the veterans can take advantage of it and really kind of reach for a dream and reach for a goal.
Okay. Well, in our city, we have a lot of commissions that are appointed by the city council. We have an arts commission, we have a tourism advisory commission, we have planning and zoning commission, we have a disability commission. Anyway, we have a lot of commissions, and they're volunteers, but you get involved in what's going on in the city. Okay, and it's really rewarding, and that's the way I started. Getting involved with the Planning and Zoning Commission, and it gave me a sense of what it takes to run a city. City's pretty complex.
A little bit.
Okay, I mean, you turn on the water tap, that's a city, you know. Hopefully that works, and you flush the toilet, that's a city. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Traffic light, that's a city.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
and so it's a complex organization.
Mm-hmm.
We have 900 employees in the city, and 135,000 people. And so when we have a storm like we had last week, there's all hands on deck.
Right.
We got trees down the streets. We got all kinds of stuff going on. So when you get a little involved with the city in terms of a commission, you get a feel for that. And I recommend, we're thinking about, since you brought that up, we're thinking about starting a Veterans Commission.
Okay.
And that's because we have 13% of our population in Surprise are veterans.
Okay. All right.
It's one of the highest in the state.
Yeah.
And so we think that's why we think we can get this Veterans Bridge done.
Yeah.
That's one of our points
Okay.
to sell to the feds.
Okay.
Is that we have a high population of veterans in Surprise,
Mm-hmm.
and so we just don't want to set up a commission that just for the sake of doing it.
Right.
We want to make sure that there's something that they can contribute to the city for veterans. Maybe they can contribute to the Veterans Parade more, you know, in terms of that or whatever.
Will they maybe be in charge of developing resources for training veterans? Like, let's say somebody like me who was more, you know, infantry type 11 Bravo kind of thing, training them, cross training them into different, you know, skill sets where maybe they can learn computer programming,
yes,
or, you know, things like that.
That could be part of it too. Training. There could be, yes, training and education. We got a new a residential university that just started here in Surprise. So maybe there's a way that Veterans Commission could work with the Ottawa University.
Yeah.
To have education.
I think it's important. I think it's important because I know, you know, I said there, you know, a friend of mine, Mario, he actually was in artillery, but he's a big arts guy. You know what I'm saying? So he wants to use his art, you know, go back more to his art background. Obviously, you know, blowing shit up is,
right.
You know, not gonna happen.
Not artful.
Yeah.
Although he was an artist at it. He was
an artist at it. Mario's really good. You know, Mario, you know, falling 360. You know you are. But I mean, you know, so he's going back more to his art background. So I want the veterans to be able to like define their passion, you know, obviously, and you know, be able to pursue that, and then also be able to monetize it and, you know, make a living,
right,
and
right,
not give everything away.
Right.
So like I said, maybe the Veterans Council can kind of work towards that kind of a program.
Right.
Like I said, we can, you know, train some of our veterans to you know,
and maybe because I'm just thinking out loud now, okay, but maybe maybe this Veterans Commission could help coordinate the different veterans organizations in Surprise in the Northwest Valley.
Exactly.
You know, we got the VFW, we got the Marine Corps League, we got the American
Valley
Legion
Veterans Chamber.
Yeah,
exactly.
We got the, you know, maybe there's a way to have synergy.
Okay.
That could benefit the veteran. Let's
do it.
Yeah.
Let's work on it.
Yeah.
We're already coming up with ideas. During the interview.
Exactly. So that's a thought. I mean, I got to get the rest of the council to support it. You know, I'm just 1 out of 7, but I'm kind of.
If we as a community, this is like I said, this is where if we come together as a community, if we are together, we are a unit.
Yes.
We're a band.
Right.
If we go to the city councils, okay, and we say we want this resource,
right?
Guess what's going to happen? They're going to hear our voice.
Yes, that's right.
A little more than everybody else down the street. You know what I'm saying? Because we're going to be a little bit louder and a little bit prouder.
That's right.
So
involvement is key.
Yes.
And if there's one message that I would want to say is that if people want to get involved, they have an impact. Mm-hmm. Okay. If you come in front of the city council and say, listen, this is not right. I would like to see this happen. And all of a sudden 5 or 6 people are saying that.
Right.
The city council is listening.
Right. So that's, again, I think that's the one thing that we're trying to really build here is build a veteran community. You know, a lot of people, like I said, they get disenfranchised. They'll say, okay, well, you know, I'm just one person. But if we all come together as a unit, we go walking in there as a squad, platoon force, walking into the city council, we want this done.
Yep. It's going to have an impact.
It's going to have a big impact.
You better believe it. So, and don't discount that. Mm-hmm. That would be my message. Okay. And that would help me gain support.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
No, that
because
is.
so that's in fact the idea of a veterans parade came from a friend of mine who's a veteran. He served two terms in Vietnam,
Okay.
2 tours, and Tomas Garcia, and he was handling the veterans parade in a little community here. It's called Sun Village himself.
Okay.
He was putting it all together, and he says, "Hey, how about the city doing it? Step up, will you guys?"
Mm-hmm.
And he started hounding me, and I said, "You know what? Okay, Tomas, I'm gonna." Yeah, you know. And he was a master sergeant in the Army, so he's kind of a bulldog. You know?
Yeah, you
And
get it done.
yeah, let's get it done.
Mm.
So there's a good example.
Mhm.
Okay, and so anyway, that's we love our veterans, but it's not just a matter of saying it. It's a matter of action.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't talk about it. Be about it.
Yeah, let's be about it.
All right.
You know, and that's the whole thing.
And speaking of being about it, like I said, Skip's running for re-election, here at the city council for a city surprise. So I'm gonna let him talk about his re-election campaign a little bit more. And because if we don't re-elect, if we don't get behind, our politicians that are like Skip, although they're few and far between, and that's what these are for. So that way we can start letting the veteran community know, hey, there are veterans out there,
right?
Okay,
right.
They're not all John McCain. Okay, these
right.
guys actually get stuff done for us. Okay,
right.
So,
right.
If you could, like I said, talk about your run again for
okay.
city council, go into campaign a little more, how people can support you and contribute things like that.
Okay, well, if any of the veterans live in my district is in the center of Surprise here. This is my district.
Okay.
City Hall is in my district.
Okay.
And it goes over to Mountain Vista Ranch and goes to West Point and down to Sierra Verde, over to Sun Village, over to Kingswood Park.
Okay.
Okay, so that's kind of the district. There's about 22,000 people live in the district. So if any of you live in my district, please vote for me. Okay, you should have gotten a early mail ballot,
Mm-hmm.
and if you'd like a sign in your yard, let me know.
Okay. So the sign's coming all the way down
Yeah,
Bell River.
there's the results are the 28th of August.
Okay.
Okay, we'll know at like 8 o'clock that night, and so the gentleman that's running against me is he's a nice guy. He just thinks a little differently than I do,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a little more. I'm a little more conservative. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I just am, and but he's not a bad person. But I'm more effective. That's just
Plain and simple.
plain and simple.
Yeah.
Okay, it's one thing to talk. It's another thing to get things done.
Right.
And anyway, so that's and if you have any neighbors that live in my district, please let them know.
How do they learn more about you? What's your website and everything?
skipforsurprise.com is my website,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm on Facebook and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you can look at my bio on the city's website of things that I've worked on.
Okay.
There's a button called Mayor Council, and you hit that, and then you go to me and hit that. I put out a newsletter every week.
Okay.
Okay, it came out last night,
Mm-hmm.
and so it tells what I've been doing
All right.
and what we're working on. So it's all about accountability,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I do it every week.
It's got a track record to prove it.
Yeah, so you can sign up for my newsletter just by coming on the city's website and say the notify me button, and then it'll say my newsletter, and you just put your email in there, and you'll get my newsletter.
All right.
So okay,
That's great. That's great. So in closing, like I said, what we're trying to do, especially like I said, the city surprise, very veteran friendly, very veteran orientated.
Yes.
Trying to get even more so. Okay, but like I said, we have to come together as a unit. We can't just sit in the shadows. We can't just sit back and not do anything. We have to become a unit, become a force. And I said, and then we go to our representatives, and then we can speak in a louder voice, and then he's going to
Yes.
represent us. So if you live here in the city surprise, get behind Skip, get him reelected. Obviously, he's moving in the right direction, so we got to do what we can
Right.
to keep moving forward. So I wanted to thank you again, of course, for your service.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you again
Chris.
for your time. Thank you for your service, not only obviously in the Army in Vietnam, but then also for us here in the city of Surprise.
I'm honored to do it.
Yeah, taking the time to do this interview. Man. I appreciate
Yes.
it a lot.
All right, Chris.
Thank you so much.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, guys. See ya.